giving you a little
slice.
I hate to bust your bubble, but the truth is, you don't know everything. And no matter how smart you are, you're probably still not even close to knowing everything. My name is Lance Speck, and today I'm going to talk to you about the importance of getting a little help from your friends. Have you ever had a project that you worked on, you spent a lot of time, you thought about it very deeply for a while, and after all of that thinking, for whatever reason, it got delayed, and you open it back up a month or 2 months later, and you look at it and you find all kinds of flaws? Sometimes we just get so immersed in what we're doing, and we've created so many biases that we've create these blind spots. And so it's really important to get help from other people, to get different perspectives. There's other gaps in our knowledge bank where other people can come in and they can help fill them. Maybe they can show a different perspective that you hadn't thought of, and ultimately make whatever you were doing, which might have been really good, turn into something a whole lot better. This can be the difference between success and failure. And I'll tell you a little story. Once upon a time, I invested in a restaurant, many thousands of dollars. And I asked friends to go try the restaurant out. I didn't really have any management decision. I was kind of a silent investor. Asked about 20 friends to go check it out, tell me what they thought. I'm kind of excited about this whole thing. And all 20 came back with pretty much the same story. They had some advice I won't get into, but they basically said, change this and this and this, and you'll be a lot better off. I took that advice back to management, and I said, hey, I did a little research project, and this is what they came up with. They ended up taking 0.0 of my advice, which was within their contractual rights to do. The restaurant never hit a profit, and ultimately, you probably know how the story ends, it went out of business. In this series, I'm going to talk a little bit about why you need to take advice, how you need to take advice, and from whom you should take advice. To begin with, there are some smart, inquiring minds out there. There are people who will ask you questions that you had never thought of, and sometimes it'll blow you away what they ask you that you had never ever thought of, even though you thought this thing through to the nth degree. You have to be able to take it. You have to be able to listen. And it doesn't mean that you take and implement everything somebody asks you, because that would be ridiculous. You probably know your business better than they know your business. You've experienced it firsthand. But it doesn't mean that they aren't going to have some different perspectives. Sometimes people that are from a completely different industry will ask you somewhat, call them stupid questions, just because they're curious. And those people in those questions will reveal something accidentally that could change your business. Don't argue with everything they say. If they say something completely out of context, it's certainly fine to say, well, I'd consider that, but here's why that doesn't necessarily apply here. But try to ask, tell them there's nothing bad to ask. Have them question everything so that you can get a better grip for what all they might be able to identify. Again, you don't have to do everything you hear. These people don't have to be close personal friends. These people could actually be somebody who's running a podcast. The conversation, the dialogue part of back and forth is really good. So it can't all be from podcasts. It's really good when people can talk to you and listen to you and answer questions and go back and forth. The question is, do you want to succeed? Because I think this is critical to succeeding. And if somebody told you that you could increase your odds of success dramatically just by finding out and figuring out things you didn't know and getting help from friends and from experts, then you'd be kind of ridiculous and maybe even a bad business owner to go against that and not do anything. Like I said, enlist people early and often. Just because it's the beginning and you just got an idea that you're thinking about, that's a great time to enlist people. When you're starting out, it's a great time to enlist people. When you're a month or two in and you've got a lot of question marks, it's a great time to enlist people. And when you're a year or two in and you're kind of hitting a plateau on what you're able to do, it's a good idea. It's a great idea to ask people about some other thoughts and ideas about ways that you might be able to hit that next growth spurt. Truth is, I've got a number of people with various domains that have helped me out over time. I'm going to drop a couple of their names just to tell you who they are and why they helped me, but also give you some ideas for some of the friends that might fit this. I've got a guy by the name of Bill Jacaruso, who's an entrepreneur himself, a very gutsy, crazy, fast-moving entrepreneur, and he's really kicked me in the butt a number of times by saying, you need to just get going, you need to do this. He's asked me questions, but he's also just pushed me when I needed a push. I've got a life coach, certified life coach out there named Wendy Irwin, who's fantastic. I would subscribe to her Instagram channel and look her up when you get a chance. I'll put her information on the screen. Shane Pratt is a good friend of mine, and he's a fantastic process expert, but he's also a guy who he thinks things through like you wouldn't believe. And so he's thinking 10 steps below where I'm thinking at all times. And I really appreciate it. He's thinking about things that I would not pick up until I actually was in the weeds. And I really appreciate Shane's advice. I've got a friend named Brittany Gilbert who runs a multi-million-dollar catering company here in Austin, Texas. Works for a multi-billion-dollar company. And she gave me right off the bat a lot of advice on cost and expense and cost of goods and inventory management, hiring and processes and health inspection processes, etc. Critical to get started. There's a guy out there named Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's fantastic from a motivational perspective. I've got an aunt named Connie Schweinberg, and Connie managed and was a chef for very high-end restaurants for about 30-40 years, and she came in right off the bat and helped us out, helped us with our menu, helped us with our some of our recipes. Just a domain expert all the way around. She taught us how to keep things maintained, how to keep things moving, and how to keep things simple, and then keeping our costs down was critical. And then finally there's a guy named Aaron Mast, and he's kind of a dreamer. Aaron's like the idea person. He'll call me every day and say, what have you thought about this? What about that? What will be differentiator is if you did that. You're going downtown to do this specific thing. How can you leave you can give them the best barbecue. Guess what? Austin's full of the best barbecue. How can you leave an impression that differentiates yourself downtown? Or what can you put together if you've just made it to 800,000? What are some things you might be able to tweak to do the same amount of work and get to $1 million? So you need those dreamers. If you're an entrepreneur, you're probably a dreamer, but those dreamers are critical. Find your people like this. Find your dreamer. Find your deep thinker. Find your ass kicker. Find your domain expert. Find somebody who can help you with the costs and the details and the numbers that'll help you grow your business. All in all, find your team, save your time, save yourself some money. Goodbye. Thanks.